Hello, everyone. Welcome and welcome back to Chapman Chapters. My name is Kevon, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get to nitty gritty. This is about why I got fired from Compass Health. Um, I'm not usually the type to just miss a day of work. I like my money. I like, to be someone to rely on, to be there. Um, that's just me. But anyway, I just want to explain like what was the domino effect that kind of like got to that point of me being fired. So I have to explain Compass Health attendance policy or PTO policy, how they handle it or whatever. So when you first start at the job, you get 16 hours of PTO after your first pay period. So once you start a job, I think you got to work like a month till you get that first paycheck because you get paid every 2 weeks. So once I worked my month and then I got my paycheck. That was when I got my 16 hours of PTO. And then from there, every 2 weeks, you get like 3.6 hours or 3.7. I can't remember. Anyway, Thanksgiving came around and I don't even know how much I used. I think I used like maybe 16. I can't remember. But I used a good chunk of mine so I can go to Ohio to see my cousins for Thanksgiving. So then when I came back, I looked at my hours and then my PTO hours, I seen that I had like 9 or 12. I can't remember. So then in December, one morning, I guess I was rushing, I don't know. And um, my partner uses like the tweezers um, that he normally uses, it wasn't like covered, it wasn't covered, like the blade part wasn't covered. So I guess when I was like rushing that morning, when I was moving my hand, it stuck to side of my hand, and basically it got infected. Like you couldn't even see like my knuckles here because it was so like infected, inflated right here, and it hurt. I'm not gonna lie, it hurt. Just to like bend my hand, it hurt. Just to touch it, it hurt. Like it was bad. Um, But on that day when it did happen, I didn't think anything of it until I went home, got some sleep, and then in the middle of the night, it was just burning, like to the point where I was like, I need to go to the emergency room because I can't even go to sleep. So I went to the emergency room. I was sitting in the emergency room for like 15 hours. So you already know about the video cutting out. I explained it in my past videos. Um, I make videos through Snapchat. I only have that 3 minute marker before it cuts out. I was trying to stop it before it did, but I was on my little tangent. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So I was stuck sitting in like this chair for 15 hours because they were trying to figure out um, if they could do like an MRI, or I can't remember what it was. They had to do some kind of scanning as far as what was going on with my hand. Anyway, long story short, I ended up getting a room and I was out of work. I want to say for like 3 to 4 days. So they pulled all of my PTO, like every last bit of it. And then what was left over, it was non-paid. Like it showed in the system on their side that I worked 40 hours, but I really didn't. There was like PTO and then the rest of it was like non-paid, whatever. That's just something they had to enter in the system. So now I'm starting over again, trying to build up on PTO so I can like go on vacation or see my family or whatever. So then this year it snowed really bad. So like I want to say it snowed overnight, and I think it was like that Monday or something like that. It was very snowy, and I'm from North Carolina. I just did not feel comfortable driving in that snow. And I'll be first to admit on this video, I didn't feel like going in trying to drive through that snow. I'll be perfectly honest. And there's a reason why I'm saying this, because even later on, this shit doesn't make any sense. So I ended up calling a job. I said, hey, like it's snowy outside. I'm just gonna stay home. Like I'm not finna risk it. Um, so those 8 hours of no PTO, no doctor's note, that was counted against me. Later that week, it snowed again, not to mention the ice that wasn't fully, the ice, the snow that wasn't plowed in our parking lot from that snow that I just told you that happened that Monday within that same week, that wasn't plowed out. So they both stacked on top of each other. So when I tried to go to work that Friday, I was stuck. So I messaged my boss and I sent her a video. I even posted it on Snapchat. Those who are watching this from Snapchat, shout out to y'all, that I was stuck. And I asked her, I said, what do you want me to do? I think I called her. I texted her at first and then I called her because I just didn't like the response she gave me through text. And I said, what do you want me to do? She said, just be safe. You're fine. You're good. Okay, cool. All right. I'm just letting you know that I'm stuck. Like, I don't know how else you want me to get to work. I'm stuck. And so back to what I was saying before the video cut out again. It took 3 people to get me out of that predicament that I was in on the video that I sent. It took me, my boyfriend, and then one of the neighbors that had their car also stuck, so they couldn't go to work, to get me in a parking lot so I can park my car in a parking lot and make it back in the house safely. So that, I guess, was counted against me. And then just this past Monday, I found out that my license was suspended, and it's been suspended for a while. And that's from what happened last year. Long story short, I was visiting home and I was pulled over for going barely 10 over. Who doesn't go 10 over on a road? Let's just keep it a bin. But I was in West Virginia, so what do you expect? I guess the cop had to reach his quota. He pulled me over, gave me a ticket, and once I got done visiting my family and stuff, this was like this was before Compass, the whole ticket thing. This was before Compass. This was like July of last year. Anyway, a check, no. I spoke to the lady on the phone. I asked her, can I pay it online? She told me no. She said I had to write a check and send it to this address that she gave me. And we sent the check out, and I never got a notice that it bounced. I never got a notice that it was paid. I thought it was taken care of. I thought it was like behind me. And I was pulled over the weekend by an officer because I had went left on like this red arrow. Long story short, it was an intersection I haven't been at in a while. It's just the cop understood where I was coming from. Anyway, he told me that my license was suspended. And since Compass is open during business hours through 8 to 5, I needed to go to the DMV. I need to get hold of the people in West Virginia to figure out what are the next steps to get my license reinstated. So the last day, the third day that I missed was this past Monday. I used that day to take care of what I need to take care of on working on the next step to get my license reinstated. That day I went to the DMV. That day I went to the post office. That day I had made multiple calls on West Virginia. I had went home, made multiple calls to different people in West Virginia to get that taken care of. Like my mind was just focused on that, and then like just the stress level of knowing that, it was suspended, and like just I was not in the right headspace to walk in that building that Monday. Was not in the right headspace. Tuesday came around. I came in. I worked all the way to 2 or 3 o'clock, and they pulled me to the back, and I knew it was coming. And then they fired me. And I want to say my piece on it. This is the part where I want to say my piece. Number one, the reason for me being fired was very stupid. And I didn't just say that. Multiple people on my way out that I explained why I got fired said the same thing. Multiple people that I called when I got home that I vented to said it was stupid. And I'm going to tell you why. We work at a health clinic. there's no glass blocking. So when a person have flu, when a person have COVID, like, you're fucked. And I think the whole you miss days, if you don't have any PTO, you're just fucked. Like, that's stupid as fuck. When I had my hand infected and I had that doctor's note, y'all should have asked me, hey, do you want us to pull out of your PTO or not? I would have told y'all no. To keep it a band, I would have told y'all no. I want to keep my PTO because I was gonna save it to visit my family, or I could have used it on that snow day when I didn't feel comfortable going in, or I could have used it on that day that I was stuck, or I could have used it on when I had to go handle the DMV stuff. Like, I could have used it on those days, and I probably would have still had my job if you guys didn't take all my PTO. But y'all automatically was just pulling it out, and I had a doctor's note covering while my hand was infected. Not to mention, 2 out of those 3 days that I was out was because of the snow. Everybody's area wasn't fully plowed. Everybody's area wasn't fully cleared. Like, I don't know why common sense didn't click in that, okay, Kevon's not just staying out of work because he's staying out of work. I was working 10-hour shifts at this job when really I should have been working 8. I was working from morning all the way till closing some days. I think I had did it for a month for, like I was saying before the video cut out, I did that for like a good month until I finally spoke up and said, hey, I'm not finna keep doing this because y'all fired 2 people and we went from like, they fired 2 people, well, no, they fired more than 2 people. They fired some people that just started around that time period, like in that November, December period. Long story short, we were a 6th to 7th person staff, and like half of the crew either quit or got fired. So it was just 3 of us. So I was trying to do my best to help my other two coworkers that was there. To keep it a band, I was a supervisor without actually being the supervisor. I was the one that was trying to like hold the office together. Like, I was the one who was trying to make sure I knew. No offense to the 2 coworkers that was there, they were great at their job. But if I want to keep it a band with myself, I knew more. I knew more, and I forced myself to know more so they wouldn't have to have that much of a burden on themselves. Like, I was the one who felt like I needed to take that responsibility to take care of both of them. And I never got a pat on the back. I got like the overtime that I worked because I worked past those hours, but I never got a pat on the back. I never got a good job. Not from the higher ups. From the people in that office, I did, but not from the higher ups. They offered me the supervisor position. At first, I didn't think I was ready. So I waited until I learned what I needed to learn first. Then I applied for the supervisor position. And before I applied for it, I asked the higher ups, should I apply for it? And I was told yes. I applied for it. I went to the interview and I asked the HR lady, I said, when would I hear from someone as far as the results on me getting being offered this position? They told me the next following week. The next following week, I asked, and it's crickets. The 3 people because I was interviewed by 3 people all at the same time for this position. Crickets from all 3 of them. One of them finally reached back out to me like, I want to say it was like a day later. This was like maybe a Wednesday or a Thursday. She reached out to me. I knew it was going to be some BS when she hacked me up in a phone call and said, oh, yeah, I like the questions. I like how you answer the questions, and I like your work performance, blah, 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 blah. But unfortunately, you can't get this position because you need to be here longer, and somebody else had applied for it. So I'm like, okay. Then she begged me not to quit. She said, please, please don't leave. Don't go anywhere. Please, stay here. And then hopefully that position falls open again. So basically, y'all told me I need to stay here long enough for that position to be open and for me to be ready to get that supervisor position. But y'all hired somebody outside the company. So anyway, like I was saying before the video cut out, y'all basically told me that I need to be there longer to be qualified for that supervisor position. However, y'all decided to hire somebody outside Compass. So now they got to be trained on the material that I already know. So I'm basically, me and the other 2 coworkers that's been there before me, We gotta train this supervisor to get used to the systems when y'all could have just gave it to me. Like, I'm gonna need y'all to make it make sense. Like that defeats the purpose of the excuse that you gave me over the phone. You just told me that I needed to be at this job a little bit longer to get a position, but y'all hired somebody from the outside who doesn't know anything about the systems. So they gotta be trained anyway. Make that make sense to me. And I'm not gonna lie to you, it hurt me. It hurt me. I could have quit. I could have dropped my performance, but I didn't. I didn't let my foot off the gas. I worked. If anything, I worked harder. I worked harder because of that. Um, I was called for everything at this job. I was called for everything. Behavioral health, primary. Like I was the go-to person. And I'm not knocking the other two down. They're great at their job. I'm not knocking them too. I'm not knocking the girl who comes visit from a different clinic to help us out. I'm not knocking her out either. I'm not saying they're doing a bad job. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying when I came to work, I was really on my shit. I was really on my shit. And the doctors, the psychiatrists, other people in the office knew that. And when they knew that I didn't get the supervisor position because I told them, they was like, oh man, that really sucks. Like, I really think you're good for it. These are doctors that I've only spoke to maybe 10, 15 minutes out of the entire day. But they seen, like, when they walk by in the hallways, they seen how I speak to the patients. They seen how I move. And they was ones who said, like, that really sucks. They was more mad than me. Like, their reaction was stronger than me when they found out I didn't get the position. So, like, I'm not just talking out the ass. Like, I'm just giving you the responses that I've gotten from other people, not just mine. Um, what else? Even if we looked at it from a bigger perspective, from a business perspective, I've been at this job for 4 months. If we, because let's just say the hand thing is completely excused. I only missed 3 days out of the 4 months I was there. 3 days. And two of those were snow days. And that was our reason for firing me? That was our reason? There was a girl, when I first started, she was jumped in the back in the parking lot. Like I was saying before the video cut out, there was this girl who got in a fight in the back in the parking lot. She instigated it. She also ripped someone's tags off the back of their car. Cops showed up both times. Those instances happened. Those happened a week after each other. What else happened? She would come in 3 hours and just leave. This happened multiple times, like in a week. She would sometimes just not come in, just say I don't feel good. And she didn't even get fired for attendance. She got fired because the very last incident, once she got into it with a coworker and patients saw it, and that's why she was let go. And I know at the time we had an easygoing supervisor that could cover those situations, but it still doesn't change the facts as facts. Like, y'all only fired me for missing 3 days, and there's people who came in there and half-assed their job, or they were causing a lot of trouble and still managed to stay there until eventually it was caught on, compared to someone who's a complete workhorse and I had valid reasons on not showing there. I'm not showing up. Valid reasons. And I don't know, like I said, it's just none of it makes any sense. But the grind doesn't stop. I'm gonna still work as hard as I did when I was at that job. I'm gonna work as hard as like I did at the previous job. The grind doesn't stop because I know my worth. I know my worth. And if anything, Compass was therapeutic for me compared to the previous job. You guys are the ones on Snapchat. You guys know the type of mental state I was in from the last job before this one. But this one, everyone treated me like I was like the most important person in that office area because of the stuff that I knew, because of the work performance. Like, I knew I was an important person. at that office. I felt like an important person at that office. And it was a nice feeling. It was a good feeling. I'm not gonna lie, it was nice. But it was only the office that knew, not the higher ups in the background that knew. And I'm gonna miss all of those wonderful people that I work with. I'm gonna miss the laughs, the snacking, the little stories that we would tell each other. I mean, those moments were nice. I'm gonna miss those. And like I said, I think like I was saying before the video cut out, I think Compass, like if someone asked me, would you, what is your opinion as far as applying for the job? I think the job itself is fine. Um, like your role is fine. I just think that how it's structured as far as like how the attendance is and the emails on you having to correct a few things, like it's instead of showing you like how to fix that mistake, instead of just them telling you the mistake, they'll tell you that you made a mistake, but they won't tell you how to fix the mistake, so you have to figure it out yourself on or reach out to someone on how to fix that mistake. I mean, there's just certain things that definitely need to be better. And I had an opportunity when it was time for me to when they fired me, I had an opportunity to say a lot, but I didn't because I didn't think it was worth the energy. Because like I said, there's a disconnect between the office and the higher ups. There's definitely a disconnect, and you can tell through the emails how they talk to you. There's definitely a disconnect. But I think overall the job itself is fine. But you also got to think of it like this: once you learn everything and you feel like you're burnt out, it's one of those things where you can do the job. You just have to want to do it. It has to be in you to want to help patients, to want to help people. If you do not have that in you, once you learn everything and once you get used to that crowd of people coming in and day out, and some of them are rude, some of them feel entitled. If you don't have that in you, I wouldn't apply for the position. You have to have that caring, I want to care for people, I want to take care of people in you. If you don't, then I don't think the job is for you. Um, and one last thing I want to say, I feel like the situation with management and HR, that's not going to change until more than one person speak up. That's not going to change. Like, it needs to be a group of people, a powerful group of people, not just CRS, but management. That's like a hierarchy below the ones that's actually causing these policies, these attendance policies, and this other, like the 6 days, the sick days and stuff like that. The ones that's below that all need to band together and stand against that to actually make a difference. Me saying how bad it was and how that could have been fixed isn't going to make a difference, but I already knew it's not. I already knew that it wasn't going to change anything, which is why when she asked me, do I have any questions, when it was time for me to pack my things, because I was, being let go, she asked me, do I have any questions or concerns? And I didn't think it was worth the energy. It was worth the time. Um, but I'm saying my piece here because this is for me, not for them. This is for me. And more things just keep popping in my head as I'm trying to close this video. But I felt like if I was anywhere else, if I was at Target, if I was at Sam's, if I was at, and maybe because those are retail jobs and this was a health clinic, but I think I would have still had my job if it was under the same circumstances. The snow and the DMV thing, I think I would have still had my job under the same circumstances. So maybe it's because it was a health clinic. I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to find a reason to try to justify it, but there is no justifying it. Me being fired, the reason for me being fired was very, very stupid to me. Very, very stupid to me. But I gained some knowledge from this job. I'm gonna use it towards the next one, and I'm gonna keep it moving. Um, but I thank you guys for listening. Whoever watched up to this point. Um, and I'll see you guys around. Have a good night. So I just realized something during the editing process. Normally I have my phone recorded from this angle, so that way when you turn your phone over, you can watch it full screen. But I've been recording it from this angle and didn't even realize it. But I've been sitting in this chair for 3 hours, trying to convey my thoughts on what to say in the video, and I don't feel like doing it again. So I'm sorry that this video will be indeed cropped if you switched positions of your phone. But I'll make sure any videos coming up out after this one that you won't have to worry about that issue. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one.